I never meant to fall for my sister's fiancé, but denying it became impossible. Right now. During my livestream, Benjamin G dropped a $500 donation. My heart stopped. What the hell are you doing here, Benjamin? I snapped, forgetting. The 50,000 people watching. His reply hit like lightning. I know what you're hiding, Mike. And I'm done pretending I don't feel the same. 3 years of secrets exposed in an instant. My heart stopped when I saw his name in the chat. Benjamin G_official. And a $500 donation. The username alone made my blood run cold. Benjamin Gray, my sister Sarah's flawless alpha fiancé. The golden boy who treated me like furniture at family dinners. His message was a knife disguised as charm. Nice setup, little brother. Mind if I watch? The cheerful donation sound rang through my headset, mocking me as panic flooded my chest. On screen, my character stood frozen mid-boss fight, while my chat exploded. $500 was more than I usually earned in a week. Everyone noticed. Holy $500. Who's Benjamin? Wait, is that your brother? Mike. Your face. I should have blocked him. Should have kept playing. Should have acted like I didn't recognize the name that had haunted me for years. But instead, I blurted out, "What the hell are you doing here, Benjamin?" Right into the webcam, right in front of my entire audience. The words were sharper than I meant, cut with years of frustration and longing I tried to bury. Shouldn't you be planning wedding venues with Sarah or something? And just like that, I knew I'd messed up. The chat went nuclear. Benjamin Gray wasn't some anonymous troll. He was the fiancé my sister's for 3 years. The alpha who made omegas melt by simply breathing in a 5-meter radius. And I just snapped at him on livestream, like a jealous ex. My hands trembled as I fumbled to keep playing. But the boss battle on screen might as well have been static. I couldn't focus, not when another message popped up. "We need to talk, Mike, tonight." I felt the blood drain from my face. My hands hovered above the keyboard, shaking. Usually, I was good at this, keeping my reactions locked down, playing the cheerful, high-energy streamer. But Benjamin had a way of peeling everything back. Even through his screen, he stripped me bare. This wasn't about the stream anymore. It was about a secret I'd carried for 3 years like a stone in my chest. The truth that Benjamin's deep blue eyes haunted my dreams. That his scent pine and cedar sent my omega instinct spiraling every time we gathered for dinner. That I was completely, hopelessly in love with my sister's fiancé. I remember the day it started. I was 19, fresh out of high school, still learning how to exist as an omega in a world ruled by alphas. Sarah had walked through the front door practically glowing hand in hand with him. "He's the one," she'd said. And I'd smiled, even though my stomach turned inside out. "Yeah, sorry guys," I muttered to the stream, forcing a hollow laugh. Got distracted. You know how family stuff is. But my chat wasn't buying it. Drama alert. That guy seems like trouble. Mike looks like he's about to cry. Who the hell is Benjamin Gray? I tried to restart the game, tried to shove my feelings back down. But then another message hit me like a truck. "I know what you're hiding, Mike. And I'm tired of pretending I don't feel it too." My lungs locked up. Somehow he knew, even after all the effort I'd put into keeping my distance. Smiling politely at dinners, leaving early, acting like he didn't make my whole body light up just by walking into a room. But now everyone knew something was up. The chat had gone feral, donations pouring in, people begging for the drama to unfold. But I couldn't see any of it. Could only hear my own heartbeat pounding, and smell the ghost of pine and cedar everywhere. "Stream's over," I whispered. My fingers hovered over the button, trembling. I didn't care about the disappointed fans. Didn't care about lost revenue. I just needed out away from Benjamin's words, from what they meant. But right as the stream faded to black, one last message popped up. "Don't run from this anymore. Please." I slammed my laptop shut. Silence crashed around me like a wave. My chest heaved as I tried to breathe. Then dash buzz. My phone lit up. I didn't have to look to know who it was. "Come down, please." 3 words, and suddenly, everything was crumbling. Benjamin Gray was outside my apartment at midnight, and everything I'd done to protect my sister and myself was about to fall apart. I paced my tiny living room, hands tangled in my hair. I could ignore him, could pretend I didn't see the messages, could keep playing the part of Sarah's loyal little brother, the one who would never betray her. But Benjamin had seen through it all, and he was done pretending. Buzz. Another message. "I'm not leaving until we talk." Something twisted in my stomach. This wasn't the composed, polite alpha who smiled at my mom's casseroles. This was someone raw, someone reckless, someone trapped just like me. I looked around at my tiny apartment, the gaming setup I built with my own hands. The secondhand furniture, the small, independent life I'd carved out for myself, far from home and complications. Suddenly, it all felt paper thin, like one wrong move would make it all collapse. But I was already reaching for my keys, already pulling on my shoes. Because after 3 years of pretending, I was ready to face the truth. 3 years of pretending had nearly destroyed me. And if Benjamin was finally ready to stop pretending too, then maybe, just maybe, it was time I did the same. This conversation could either blow my entire family apart or break me completely. Maybe both. The elevator ride felt like a free fall through space. My stomach dropped with every floor we passed up by the time I stepped into the lobby. My palms were slick with sweat, and my heart was pounding so violently I was sure the whole building could hear it. The automatic doors parted, letting in the chill of the night air and the low hum of passing traffic, but I didn't register any of it, because the only thing I could see was him, leaning casually against a sleek black BMW. In the nearly empty parking lot, Benjamin Gray looked like he had been plucked straight from an Omega's most reckless fantasy. Even under the dim parking lot lights, he was stunning. Dark jeans that clung to his long legs, a black leather jacket draped effortlessly over a white t-shirt that framed the broad lines of his chest and shoulders. His hair was slightly tousled, like he'd been dragging his hands through it all night. And the moment he saw me walk out, he stood upright with a kind of smooth, liquid grace that made my mouth go dry. I forced my feet forward, even as every nerve in my body screamed at me to either run back inside or run straight into his arms. I stopped about 10 feet away, hugging myself as if I could shield my chest from the fire raging inside. The night air was cool on my skin, but it did nothing to ease the heat burning through me. "You have 5 minutes," I said, my voice steadier than I expected. "After that, I'm going back upstairs and blocking your number." Benjamin pushed off the car. The motion was so effortless, so refined it was almost poetic. Even after 3 years of family dinners, I still wasn't used to the way he moved. All tightly held strength and unconscious dominance. "You looked beautiful tonight." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. They caught me completely off guard. "On stream?" I asked, disoriented. "When you were laughing at the chat's jokes. When you got excited during that boss fight. I couldn't take my eyes off you." My chest constricted, a knot of emotion rising in my throat. This was exactly what I'd been avoiding for 3 years. Because Benjamin had always looked at me like I was something fragile, something worth protecting. And that look made me want things I had no right to want. "Don't," I whispered. I stepped back once. He followed. We were caught in some twisted gravity now, circling each other under flickering fluorescent light. "Don't do this to Sarah," I said. "Don't do this to me." "Do what?" His voice dropped to a low, husky register one he never used around Sarah or my parents. This voice was reserved for me alone. It was dark, intimate, threaded with promises I couldn't afford to believe. "Tell you the truth?" he asked. "I've been watching your streams for months." My head spun. Months. He had seen me at my most unfiltered, laughing, frustrated, celebrating tiny wins. He hadn't stumbled upon me by accident. He had chosen to watch. "And I followed your private socials too," he added, stepping closer. "Under fake accounts, just to see more of you." The breath caught in my chest. "You were stalking me." "I was trying not to fall in love with you." The words tore from him bare, urgent, achingly sincere. His alpha composure cracked, wide open, revealing the man underneath, vulnerable, conflicted, every bit as trapped as I was. "Do you think this is easy for me?" he said. "You think I wanted to feel this way about my fiancé's younger brother?" His voice shook with pain, and somehow it echoed the ache that lived inside me. But I couldn't let myself believe this was real. Couldn't let myself think it was more than alpha possessiveness or some cruel fantasy, because Sarah was my sister, and she was perfect for him. I laughed, but it came out rough, splintered, and bitter. "I'm your omega fiancé's little brother, Benjamin. Let's not forget that." I stared him down. "Sarah is soft, sweet, submissive, everything an alpha wants." The words burned in my throat, but I said them anyway, because they were true. She was all the things I wasn't. She knew how to yield where I fought. She let Benjamin lead where I would challenge him every step of the way. She made alphas feel strong. I made them earn it. "She doesn't make me lose my mind." His voice was rough now, barely controlled. He stepped in, close enough that I could finally smell him properly: pine, cedar, and something darker, unmistakably possessive. The scent hit me like a drug, igniting every cell in my body. Sarah doesn't make me question everything I thought I knew about myself. The air between us turned electric, humming with suppressed heat and years of denial. I could see the glint of gold in his eyes, the dilation of his pupils. Despite the harsh overhead light, Sarah doesn't get me hard just by being in the same room. The way he whispered Utra, unfiltered, made my skin flush with heat. Stop talking. I could barely get the words out. I was drowning in his presence, in his scent. In this impossible closeness, everything inside me screamed, different commandron, stay. Hit him. Kiss him. You said 5 minutes, he murmured, and his gaze burned straight through me. This wasn't Benjamin, the polished fiancé. This was Benjamin with the mask ripped off, and he was breathtaking. I'm not done. But I was done pretending. This wasn't real. Done pretending I was okay watching him plan a life with someone else. 3 years of silence, of pushing him away, of guarding everyone but myself. It was breaking me. Go home to Sarah, I whispered, turning away before my restraint snapped. Marry her. Live your perfect alpha life. Just leave me out of it. I took 3 steps, then froze. I called off the engagement an hour ago. The words struck like lightning. I went still. The parking lot tilting around me. I heard what he said, but I couldn't believe what I heard. Benjamin and Sarah had been set to marry in 6 months. The wedding planning was in full swing. The invitations had been ordered. The deposits paid. What did you just say? I turned slowly, afraid that if I moved too fast, the entire world would shatter. He hadn't moved. Still standing, where I left him. But something in him was different now. The desperation was still there, but beneath it, there was a quiet, resolute strength, a final decision. One I realized he'd been putting off for far too long. I called Sarah an hour ago, Benjamin said, his voice calm even though I could see chaos swirling behind his eyes. I told her I couldn't marry her, that it wouldn't be fair to either of us. You broke up with my sister. Over the phone, the words came out sharp, almost accusing. But even I wasn't sure if I was angry at what he'd done to Sarah or just terrified by what this meant for all of us. I told her I needed to see her tomorrow. He continued to talk face to face, to explain the wedding can't happen. He ran a hand through his already messy hair, making it even more disheveled. And I told her the truth, that I couldn't keep pretending anymore, that I'd been lying to her and to myself. The world tilted sideways. No, this couldn't be real. Benjamin Gray had not just blown up a 3-year relationship, his engagement, because of a single late-night conversation in a parking lot with his fiancée's little brother. Benjamin, I started, but I had no idea how to finish. What could I possibly say? That he was making a huge mistake. That he needed to call Sarah back and undo everything before it was too late. That he'd just shattered the one stable thing in his life for something that had no future. I know what you're thinking, he said softly, that I've lost it, that I'm throwing away something good for something that might not even work. He took a step closer, then another, and suddenly, we were standing inches apart, so close I could feel the heat radiating off his skin. I can't marry your sister, he said, because I'm in love with you. I spun around so fast I nearly lost my balance. The words crashed into me, echoing in my skull. You did what? Even in the dim lighting of the parking lot, I could see it, the resolve etched into every line of his face, his jaw clenched, his fist tight at his sides. There was something almost defiant in the way he stood, like a man who had finally made the choice he'd been too scared to make for years, and had no intention of taking it back. I told Sarah, he said again, voice steady, despite the storm brewing behind his eyes. I told her I couldn't go through with it, that I wasn't in love with her, that I loved someone else. Each word hit harder than the last. I could barely breathe. This wasn't a drunk confession we'd laugh off in the morning. This was real. This was a detonation in the heart of my family, and the fallout was already happening. You didn't tell her it was me. I didn't even phrase it as a question. I already knew the answer. The guilt painted across his perfect features was too obvious. It sat on his shoulders like weight he couldn't shake. Oh God, Benjamin, what did you do? She figured it out, he whispered, voice cracking for the first time. I didn't say your name. But Sarah's not blind. She spent 3 years watching me. Watching you. His hands dragged through his hair again in pure frustration, a gesture I'd seen during holiday dinners when politics got heated, or when wedding details overwhelmed Sarah. But this time it was different. This time it was real. I couldn't lie anymore, he murmured. I've been lying for 3 years. Pretending to love her when all I ever thought about was you. Pretending I didn't notice how you started skipping dinners. How you left the room every time I walked in. Pretending it didn't kill me every time you looked at me like I was the enemy. That my phone vibrated loud, jarring, echoing in the still night air. I pulled it out with shaking hands and my heart cracked open. Text after text, from Sarah. Each one more frantic than the last. How could you do this to me? I trusted you with him. You're my brother. I hate you both. 3 years, Mike. 3F *** king years I wasted. Was this all some sick joke between you two? I never want to see either of you again. Each message was a knife. I could picture her alone in her apartment, probably crying, thinking her world had just caved in, because it had. Benjamin and I were the two people she loved most, and we'd betrayed her in the worst way possible. I glanced up. Guilt streaked across Benjamin's face, and for 1 second, I almost pitied him. Almost. But then another message came through. I should have known. The way you looked at him at Christmas. God, I'm such an idiot. And that was it. Rage rose up in me like a flood. I'm sorry, Benjamin started, reaching for me. No. I shoved him, hard, both palms to his chest. It wasn't much, not against his alpha frame. But it made him stumble. Made it clear I was furious. You don't get to be sorry. You don't get to destroy her life because of some twisted obsession with me. It's not an obsession, he snapped. He caught my wrist as I moved to shove him again. His grip was strong, but careful, like he was scared to hurt me even now. I love you, Mike, he said. I've loved you since the first time Sarah brought me home. Since the moment you looked me in the eye and told me I wasn't good enough for her. The memory hit me like a slap. I did remember. I was 19, protective, suspicious of any alpha who thought he could sweep Sarah off her feet. I'd cornered Benjamin in the kitchen while Sarah got ready, looked him dead in the eye and told him if he ever hurt her, I'd ruin him. Remember that? He asked, his grip tightening just a little. You were 19, fearless. Didn't care I had 6 inches and 50 pounds on you. You got right in my face to protect your sister. And I knew right then. He didn't finish the sentence. I tried to pull away. His hands were like steel around my wrist. Let me go. Not until you listen. There's nothing left to say. My voice broke. I hated how fragile it sounded. I was supposed to be furious, supposed to be defending Sarah. But all I felt was the same overwhelming ache I'd carried for 3 years. You're with Sarah. You've been with her for 3 years. You proposed to her 6 months ago. I proposed, he said, his voice unraveling, because I thought it would kill the feelings I had for you. Something inside him snapped. His alpha pheromone surged thick, heavy, overwhelming. The scent of pine and cedar, laced with something darker, something dangerous, filled the air between us. It hit my omega instincts like a hit of pure adrenaline. My knees weakened. My head spun. I thought that if I committed to her fully, if I did everything right, maybe I could stop dreaming about you. He leaned in, close enough for me to feel the heat rolling off his skin, close enough for me to see the gold shimmering in his eyes. Stop jerking off to the sound of your voice when you stream. I froze. His words hung in the air, violent and confessional, like a grenade had gone off between us. Benjamin had been touching himself while listening to my voice online, fantasizing about me, while he was engaged to my sister. I should have been disgusted, should have been furious. Instead, heat surged through my body like wildfire, and I hated myself for it. But it didn't work, he said, his voice soft now, almost reverent. It made everything worse. Every time I kissed her, I thought about you. Every time we made love, I imagined you under me instead. He looked at me like he was bleeding. And now Sarah knows. She hates us both. But I still can't stop wanting you. But Sarah's texts were still burning a hole through my phone screen. My sister, the one who had loved Benjamin with her whole heart, planned their wedding with stars in her eyes, trusted both of us, was unraveling. I finally found my voice, though it came out rougher than I meant. Stay away from me, Benjamin. Stay away from my family. You've done enough. This time, when I pulled my wrist from his grip, he let go. I turned and walked toward the building, every step feeling like I was dragging my body through quicksand. Behind me, I could hear his ragged breathing. I could still smell the faint traces of his scent in the air, pine, cedar, and what, Mike? His voice stopped me at the door, but I didn't turn around. This isn't over. Yes, it is, I replied, not looking back. But even as I said it, I knew it wasn't true. Benjamin had just set fire to everything for a chance at something that wasn't supposed to exist. And despite the wreckage, despite the pain, despite the tears I knew Sarah was shedding, part of me was glad he had. Beneath the guilt, beneath the fear, beneath the crushing weight of knowing I might have just lost my sister forever, there was something else. Something dangerous? Something like hope. Benjamin Gray loved me. He'd loved me for 3 years, just like I'd loved him. And now there was nothing left between us. No excuses, no distance. No lies to hide behind. It terrified me more than anything else that had happened. The elevator jerked to a sudden stop between the 8th and 9th floors. Of course, Benjamin was the only other person inside. The grinding metal groan made my stomach flip, but not nearly as much as realizing I was now trapped in a box with the one person I'd been avoiding. For the past 3 days, we'd been stuck in uncomfortable silence for 20 minutes now, waiting on the maintenance team. I could feel his gaze like a weight on my skin. Every time I shifted or glanced at my phone, I caught him staring. Those blue eyes never left me, tracking my every movement with a focus that made my skin flush and tighten. The small space was saturated with his scent, pine, cedar, and that's something else that made my omega instincts riot. I'd retreated to the far corner of the elevator, pressed myself against the wall like it could protect me from what I was feeling. But it wasn't enough. It would never be enough. "This is your fault somehow," I muttered, jabbing the emergency call button for the 10th time in 5 minutes. My finger hit the red plastic harder than necessary. "The elevator breaking is my fault," he said, with a flicker of dry amusement in his voice. I hated that the sound of his low laugh went straight through me. I didn't know I had that kind of power. "It's all your fault," I shot back. "Everything's broken." The words were sharper than I intended, but I didn't care anymore. I let my body slide down the wall, exhaustion crashing down like a wave. 3 days. 3 days since that night in the parking lot. 3 days of radio silence from Sarah. 3 days of my parents calling, confused, worried, and I had no answers. 3 days of playing Benjamin's confession on loop in my mind until I thought I might lose it completely. He studied my face for a long time before moving. Then he lowered himself to the floor opposite me, sitting in one smooth motion until we were across from each other, our knees nearly touching in the narrow space. Even that small act was graceful. All the quiet, coiled strength of an alpha in control. "She's staying with Megan," he said quietly, like he was revealing a state secret. I know. I didn't look at him. Couldn't. Every time I tried, I saw him in that parking lot again, wrecked, unraveling. "She texted me yesterday," I said. "Told me I was dead to her." Just that. 3 words. No context. No explanation. Just, "You're dead to me, Mike. Don't contact me again." Like she was cutting me out the way a surgeon removes something toxic. "She didn't mean it," Benjamin said softly, but even he didn't sound sure. "Yeah," I whispered. "She did." I finally met his eyes, and what I saw there surprised me. For all his alpha confidence, Benjamin looked just as hollowed out as I felt. Dark circles, tension carved deep around his mouth. He looked like a man who hadn't slept, who had lost something that mattered. "She meant every word," I said. "And she's right. I betrayed her." "You didn't." "I fell in love with her fiancé." The words tore out of me, jagged and raw. 3 days of guilt, shame, and pain finally bursting through. The elevator suddenly felt too small, too full of heat and memory in him. "I've loved you for 3 years, Benjamin." Every family dinner, every holiday, every time she'd gush about wedding details, I was breaking inside. "So, don't tell me I didn't do anything wrong." The confession throbbed in the air between us like something alive, like it had teeth. His scent changed instantly. The pine and cedar grew darker, heavier, more intense, possessive. When he spoke again, his voice was low and ragged, like he'd scraped the words straight from his chest. "Say it again." "What?" I blinked, startled by the look in his eyes. "Say you love me." He leaned forward slightly, just enough that I could see the gold flecks in his irises. Could count every lash on his eyes. "Please, Mike. I need to hear it again." The desperation in his voice made my chest ache. This wasn't the polished alpha. This wasn't the guy from family dinners. This was just a man. A man who had loved me for 3 years, and was finally hearing that maybe I loved him too. I closed my eyes and leaned my head back against the elevator wall. It doesn't matter what I feel. It's the only thing that matters. I heard the sound of fabric shifting, skin brushing metal. When I opened my eyes, Benjamin was kneeling in front of me. His knees braced mine. His body. He'd surrounded me. "There was never anything real between me and Sarah," he said. "We were friends pretending to be something else. But this," he glanced between us, "this is real. I can smell how much you want this." His voice dropped to that private register I'd only ever heard when we were alone. "Your scent gives you away every time." He was right. I could smell it. The sweet, unmistakable signature of omega arousal mixing with his stronger alpha pheromones, until the air was saturated with the kind of tension I'd tried so hard to deny. "Benjamin." His name left my mouth in a breath, a prayer. Let me touch you. His hand rose slowly, framing my face with aching tenderness. His thumb brushed across my cheekbone. Please, he whispered, just once. Let me. The elevator jolted back to life with a mechanical whine, snapping the moment in half. We pulled apart like we'd been electrocuted, Benjamin retreating backward as the car began its slow, groaning ascent. The doors slid open on the 9th floor, revealing a maintenance worker in grease-streaked coveralls. He looked to be in his 50s, kind-eyed and oblivious to the emotionally charged air between us. All fixed, he said brightly, stepping aside. Sorry for the delay, these old elevators act up now and then. Benjamin offered me a hand, and I let him help me up. His fingers lingered against mine just a second too long, and even that fleeting contact sent sparks racing up my arm. His touch was warm, slightly rough, unmistakably masculine, and it sent my omega senses into a tailspin. This isn't over, Mike, he murmured, his voice low and meant only for me. Even with the maintenance workers still present, I stepped out of the elevator without replying, but I could feel his eyes locked on me. His scent clung to my skin, to my clothes, like a ghost I couldn't shake. By the time I reached my apartment, my hands were trembling so badly I fumbled with the key twice before getting it in. Once inside, I leaned against the door, pressing my palm to the cheek where he'd touched me. It still tingled. Still remembered the heat of his hand. 3 days ago, I'd thought that scene in the parking lot was the emotional peak of this entire mess, but now I knew it had only been the beginning. Benjamin wasn't backing down. He wasn't going to pretend this was nothing, and God help me, I didn't want him to. The knock came at 3 soft, cautious, almost drowned out by the white noise machine I kept on to mute the city. I knew it was him before I even opened my eyes. Just like I knew when storms were coming or when someone was watching me. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, heart already thudding, body reacting to his presence behind the door. He knocked again, slightly firmer this time. The smart thing to do would have been to stay put, pretend to be asleep, let him walk away. But I was done being smart. I padded barefoot to the door, wearing nothing but an oversized t-shirt and sleep shorts that now felt embarrassingly thin. Peering through the peephole, I saw him. Benjamin standing there looking completely wrecked. His dark hair was a mess, eyes bloodshot, still dressed in yesterday's wrinkled jeans and buttoned down. I wasn't sure he'd slept at all. I couldn't sleep, he said, voice hoarse with exhaustion. Every time I close my eyes, I see you. In that elevator. The way you looked at me. I should have shut the door. Should have told him to leave, that we both needed space to think clearly. Instead, I stepped aside and let him in. My body made the choice before my brain caught up. You look awful, I muttered as I closed the door behind him, trying to ignore the way his scent flooded my small apartment. Feel worse, he replied, dropping heavily onto the couch like he couldn't hold himself up any longer. His broad frame dwarfed my furniture. In the soft light of the lamp, he looked different, more human. Less like the flawless alpha everyone else saw, and more like someone completely undone. I sat in the armchair across from him, folding my legs beneath me, tugging the shirt lower over my thighs. The fabric was thin, worn soft from too many washes, and suddenly I was very aware of how little I had on. Sarah's lawyer called, he said after a long pause, voice flat. She wants to sue me for emotional distress. I winced, heart sinking for both of them. She's just angry, I offered. She'll cool off. Will she? He looked up at me, eyes raw. Will you? Because I can't take it back, Mike. I can't pretend. I don't love you. I tried for 3 years. I can't anymore. His honesty sliced right through me. This wasn't the alpha from the dinner table, composed and polite. This was the man stripped bare, desperate, honest. At my mercy, do you know what Sarah said when she realized it was you? His voice dropped to a whisper, like he was afraid the truth would destroy us both. She said she'd suspected for months. She could see it, in the way I looked at you. The way I kept finding excuses to bring you up in conversations. She said she felt like she was competing with someone who wasn't even trying. The guilt in my stomach twisted like a blade. Sarah had known. On some deep level, she'd felt it, and she'd tried to fight for him anyway. The thought made me sick. I never wanted her to feel like that, I whispered. Neither did I, he said. But we don't choose how we feel. He leaned forward, elbows braced on his knees. Do you know what I was thinking about the night I proposed to her? I shook my head, not wanting to hear it, but he kept going. You. My breath caught. We'd had dinner that night. You wore that faded blue sweater that brings out your eyes. You laughed at one of your dad's awful football jokes. And it hit me so hard, I could barely breathe. I sat there watching you laugh and all I could think was, God, I want to be the one who makes you smile like that. Stop, I said, voice cracking. Please, stop. I proposed to her that night because I thought it would kill what I felt for you, he admitted, his voice breaking. I thought if I made it permanent, if I locked it in, maybe I could force myself to love her the way she deserved. But all I did was hurt all of us. 3 people broken instead of 2. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. The truth settled over us like heavy fog, thick, undeniable, impossible to ignore. Benjamin hadn't proposed out of love. He had done it trying to forget me. He exhaled shakily. I love your sister, he said. I do. But I'm not in love with her. I never was. And she deserves someone who looks at her the way I look at you. The words slipped out before I could stop them. How do you look at me? Like you're the sun, he said quietly. And I've been stuck in winter for 3 years. Something inside me broke. All the walls I'd built. All the distance I'd tried to enforce. Gone. I buried my face in my hands as the first sob tore from my throat. This is so get up, I choked out. We can't do this to her. We can't. I felt the couch dip beside me as he sat down. Felt his arms wrap around me, solid and warm, even as I protested weakly. Hey, he murmured. It's okay. No, it's not. But I didn't pull away. Couldn't. Sarah's never going to forgive us, I whispered. My parents are going to hate me. We're going to lose everyone. Then we'll have each other. He pressed a kiss to the top of my head. Soft, careful, devastating. If that's enough. I looked up at him through tears, my pain mirrored in his eyes. Is it? I asked. Is it enough for you? He gently brushed a tear from my cheek with his thumb. The touch made me ache. You're everything, Mike, he whispered. You always have been. Benjamin. His name came out as a breath, barely a sound. I know it's selfish, he said, his voice thick with emotion. I know I'm asking you to choose between me and your family. But I can't walk away. Not from you. I've tried. And I can't. I closed my eyes and leaned into his hand. Just for this moment, I let myself imagine what it would be like to say yes. To stop fighting the feelings that had haunted me for 3 relentless years. To choose him, and finally let myself be happy. Ask me tomorrow, I whispered against his shoulder, breathing in the scent of him, trying to memorize how it felt to be held like this. When we've both had time to think, ask me then. But we both already knew the answer. It was in the way I relaxed against his chest. In how my scent curled into his like a heartbeat coming home. It was written in 3 years of silent yearning, and in the fact that I'd opened the door at 3 in the morning instead of leaving him outside. Benjamin held me until the tears stopped, until my breathing slowed, until I drifted off, curled into his side like I'd belonged there all along. And when I woke up the next morning, he was gone. But the pillows still smelled like pine, cedar, and something deeper, something that felt like a promise. Sarah was already at the coffee shop when I arrived. She'd chosen a quiet table in the corner, away from the crowd. And when I saw her through the window, my heart clenched in my chest. She looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. Her face was pale, ringed with dark circles. Her usually styled hair was tied back in a messy ponytail. And she was wearing one of Benjamin's old hoodies, oversized and familiar. Seeing her in his clothes made my stomach twist with guilt, and something dangerously close to jealousy. Even now, even after everything, she was still holding on to pieces of him. When I approached the table, her carefully composed mask cracked for just a second. But she caught it and pulled herself back together with practiced precision. It was like watching someone don armor in real time. I hate that I still love you both, she whispered as I sat down, her voice so low I had to lean in to hear her. My throat closed up. Of all the things I'd imagined her saying, that wasn't one of them. I'd braced myself for fury, for her to yell, to cut me off completely, to tell me I meant nothing to her now. But this quiet, broken honesty was worse than any of that. Sarah, I'm so sorry. The apology tumbled out before I could stop it. Are you, she cut in sharply. Are you really sorry, Mike? Or are you just sorry you got caught? The words hit like a slap. It forced me to confront what I hadn't wanted to think about. Was I truly sorry? Or was I just devastated by the pain we'd caused, by the wreckage we'd left behind, by the family we might have destroyed? I opened my mouth to give her the answer she needed, wanted. But I couldn't lie to her. She deserved the truth, even if it burned down what little remained between us. I'm sorry you're hurting, I said finally, choosing every word with care. I'm sorry Benjamin and I were too afraid to face this 3 years ago. I'm sorry we let it drag on. Sorry you built a future around someone who was never fully yours. But I'm not sorry I love him. I can't be sorry for that. She flinched. Her fingers curled tightly around her untouched coffee cup. He was mine, Mike. For 3 years, he was mine. No, I said gently, but with certainty. He was trying to be yours. There's a difference. The truth hung there, painful and undeniable. I watched her absorb it, watched her scroll through 3 years of memories in her mind, seeing them now in a different light. The way Benjamin always seemed distant. The way his gaze shifted when I walked into the room. The way he mentioned me in conversations when it made no sense. We sat there in silence. The weight of everything, 3 years of avoidance, of pretending, of pain, settling between us like a presence of its own. Around us, the coffee shop buzzed with life. Orders called out. Steam hissing from machines. Mornings beginning like any other. But for us, everything felt suspended. Finally, Sarah spoke again. Her voice was soft and cracked at the edges. I knew, she said. Deep down, I think I always knew. The way he lit up when you walked in. The way he asked about you when you weren't around. The way he watched you laugh, like he was trying to memorize the sound. She stared down at her hands. I told myself I was being paranoid, insecure. But the truth was, I was just too scared to admit it. Sarah? I reached across the table. She pulled her hands away. Do you love him? She asked suddenly, looking me dead in the eye. Really love him? Or is this just some messed up rebellion because I was always the perfect daughter? The question stunned me. Is that what she thought this was? That this was about her? I love him, I said. The words left my mouth like a freefall, with no idea what would catch me. I love him so much it's been killing me. Every time you talked about wedding plans, every engagement photo, every time you asked me to taste cake or help pick flowers, I was dying inside. I tried to be happy for you. I tried to be the brother you deserved. But every smile felt fake. Every congrats felt like swallowing glass. Sarah let out a hollow, bitter laugh. And I thought you were just being antisocial, that you didn't like him because you were being overprotective. I was trying to protect you, I said, my voice raw. Both of you. I thought if I stayed away, skipped dinners, made excuses, it would fade. But it didn't. It got worse. I looked at her and saw my own heartbreak mirrored in her expression. Every day, every interaction, every time I saw you two together, it got worse. Until I couldn't breathe around you. Until I couldn't function when he looked at me. She stared into her coffee for a long time. When she finally spoke, her voice had a steadiness I hadn't heard until now. I can't forgive you, she said quietly. Not now. Maybe not ever. But, I understand. She looked up, and for a moment, I saw my sister again. The girl I'd grown up with, underneath all the heartbreak and betrayal. I understand why you both did what you did. Hope stirred in my chest. Don't that Eve? Fragile. I'm going to stay with Megan for a while, she added, before I could say anything. Figure out who I am when I'm not planning a wedding. When I'm not trying to hold together something that was never really mine. She rose to her feet with slow, deliberate grace. Everything about her screamed exhaustion. Pain held together by sheer willpower. And you, she said, pausing at my shoulder. You need to decide if what you feel for him is worth losing me. Because that's what this is, Mike. That's the choice you're making. Her hand touched my shoulder lightly. A ghost of the affection we used to share. For what it's worth, I hope he makes you happy. I hope you make each other happy. Because if you're going to break our family for this, it better be worth it. Then she was gone, leaving me in the quiet aftermath. Surrounded by the scent of her perfume and the wreckage of everything we'd been. I sat there for 20 minutes, staring at her untouched coffee cup, trying to breathe, trying to feel anything beyond the ache. Then my phone buzzed against the table, snapping me back. A message from Benjamin. Made your choice yet? I looked around. At couples sharing soft morning conversations. At professionals rushing for caffeine before work. At people living lives untouched by impossible choices. And then I typed, "Come pick me up." His reply came instantly, "On my way." 10 minutes later, Benjamin's car pulled up outside. Even before I opened the door, I saw it in his face, that quiet, unspoken question. He sat gripping the wheel like it was the only thing holding him together. Knuckles white, shoulders taut. I slid into the passenger seat and turned toward him. He looked like he couldn't breathe. "I choose you," I said, voice steady. "I choose us. Whatever that means. Whatever it costs." He reached for me, cupping my face like I was something fragile. His kiss was soft, desperate, like coming home and starting over, all at once. "You're sure?" he asked, his forehead resting against mine. "I've never been more sure of anything," I whispered. And I meant it. Outside the car, life kept moving. There would be fallout. Conversations that might break us. Family ties that may never recover. But in that moment, all that mattered was the feel of Benjamin's arms around me. And the quiet promise of something real. Something honest. Something worth every risk. I love you, Mike, he whispered into my hair. I love you too, I breathed. And for the first time, it didn't feel like a confession, or a betrayal, or a secret I had to bury. It felt like the truth. I never thought I'd fall for my sister's fiancé, but now, I can't imagine pretending we're nothing. If loving him is wrong, so be it. Even if the world turns against me, I'll still choose him. Because in his eyes, I finally saw someone who truly chose me back.